Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I am so excited to show you all how the website is coming together. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Noelle, and I'm here to read a joke. Well, I'm here to do more than that, but we're gonna start with the joke. What's a hamburger's favorite story to read? Hansel and Gristle. I didn't think... It didn't look funny on the page, and then when you say it works. So there we have it. Woo! So yes, hello. Today's video is going to be the reading habits tag, or my reading habits tag. And I'm very excited, not only because the questions seem really fun, but also because I have a very special guest. I have been without this special guest for a while, and so I'm glad he could make an appearance, the king himself. So let me just say, let's talk about it. You can just make your own video with the same tag questions, or in the comments below, you can either answer all of them or answer your favorite ones. I don't know. I love hearing how we all read slightly differently from each other, you know? It's an activity that you think would have no variation, and yet we all enjoy and ingest literature in very different ways. So let's go. I'll also leave the questions in the description box if you'd like to see them up close and personal. So the first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? No. I think I most often read in bed. If I'm reading a physical book and not listening to the audiobook, it's gonna be in bed, because I usually like to if I'm gonna take up the time with reading, then I'd like my boyfriend to at least have the main TV and be able to watch whatever he wants to watch. So I love reading in bed, but I especially love when I wake up early in the morning and I just have a cup of joe and I'm laying on the couch and the heater's on first thing in the morning and I'm all snuggled up on the couch. Or, hey, hold on, one more. I just bought my boyfriend, I bought the house, a chair for the living room. And it was supposed to be a gift for my boyfriend, but it's kind of just my chair now, and also Parker's chair, because I do a lot of reading there, a lot of annotating. There's just something about a supported back, you know what I mean? Where you are annotating and you just needed the little extra angle to really get on that highlighter. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but yes, I read all over the place, but specifically the bed and the couch and the new chair. Bookmark or random piece of paper. This is where the controversy of this video is going to come into play, because people have very strong feelings against what I do. How do I know this? Well, I often do reading vlogs, and whenever people see me do this, I always get comments where people are telling me how disappointed they are in me. And that is that I don't really use bookmarks. I love to dog ear pages. I love it. It's me making a mark on a book, literally marking my own book. Even if it's not through highlighting and writing, which I love doing in books anyway, but which might be a future question. I don't actually know. I might be skipping ahead. But I love a good dog ear. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm definitely a dog person anyway. So, and I also have noticed that, I think because I take my books a lot of places, I might take it with me in the car, or I might take it to my mom's, or I don't know, when the gym was open, I used to take it to the gym. Bookmarks just slip right out, whereas a dog ear never fails. So that's that answer. Okay, next question. Can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter / a certain amount of pages? I can stop in the middle of a chapter if there are paragraph breaks. I usually always make sure to get to a paragraph break. I don't bake. I usually don't just stop in the middle of dialogue or stop in the middle of a description or plot development, because it just will not make sense to me when I pick the book back up. But usually I can stop in the middle of the chapter as long as there's a clear indication that there is going to be a new section of the chapter. But I'm not a barbarian, okay? I won't just stop in the middle of a dialogue conversation, but I can't stop in the middle of a chapter. Do you eat or drink while reading? Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Like, I don't know. If I'm gonna dog ear my books anyway, then I don't have a problem with getting like food smudges in my books. Oftentimes, if I ever spill water or coffee near a book, I'm almost delighted by it because I know there's gonna be like weird crinkling to the pages. I'm really about ruining a book. I think it's awesome. So I'm gonna move her before I just whack it over. But yeah, I love eating and drinking, well, just in general, but when I read as well, because if it's already one of my favorite activities, why not combine the two, right? If I have a cup of coffee, why would I not enjoy it with a nice novel in hand? And if I'm hungry, bitch, the pages are not gonna stop me, okay? I love eating Chex Mix Bold while I read. Oh God. And I love eating oatmeal in the morning. So like if I've got my cup of coffee and my oatmeal and then my book propped up on a knee, oh my God, in my reading chair. Are you kidding me? Absolutely love it. I love all three of those things. So put your hands together. Multitasking, music or TV while reading? Honey, if you're able to read while the TV is on, I don't understand how your brain functions properly. My brain like skits out when like it's like a CD skipping. If the TV's on, there's no way that I can pay attention to what I'm reading. But I often have headphones in while I read, especially in reading blogs, and people always ask, what on earth could I be listening to while I'm reading? So the first one is that I'm either just listening to the audiobook while I read, so while I'm following along, because I think that audiobooks are such a splendid way to bring a story alive with like character voices and dialogue and emotion. I feel like when an audiobook is done well, it really elevates the way you experience story. So oftentimes when you see headphones in, I am listening to an audiobook with the book that I'm reading. But I also had an amazing reading playlist on Apple Music, but I recently, as in this morning, switched over to Spotify because I was sick and tired of, at the end of every year, having such a shite music wrap up compared to all the Spotify users. I always wanted to know, like, who did I listen to the most this year? Or like, what was my most played song or album? It would have been Ariana Grande across the board, but I still would have liked to see that in numbers. And instead, Spotify users blew up Instagram at the beginning of December of 2020, and I just was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then Apple finally launched some like market pantry half-assed version of what Spotify was doing, and I was like, no, I did not get a history degree to not reflect back on my life in a satisfying way. So I switched over to Spotify, which means that I no longer have my beautifully curated reading playlist. I did take screenshots of it, so I'm hoping that I can go find all of those songs on Spotify. And once I do that, I'll share a playlist on Instagram because a lot of people have been asking me to share a reading playlist, and I will once I have all of them together. So yeah. That's my thing. I'm either listening to audiobooks or I'm listening to a reading playlist that is only instrumental. It can be beats, it can be classic, it can be piano, it can be whatever, but it can't have any lyrics in it because it is super distracting when I'm reading. But first, before we get to the next question, let's take a quick break to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. So as I mentioned in my previous video with Squarespace, I wanted to make a book review type of website. So we have a whole page where I will rant about the books that I really didn't like. And then we have the raves, which is, are we surprised? The Hating Game and Misery are the top two. And then from the raves, we have this, which is Shop the Books, which I thought was a really cute idea. Obviously, these are not my t-shirts, but I would love to instead have books here. So either the books that I rave about or rant about, if any of them caught your attention, I would then link them here so that you could click on the book and then go buy the book on another website since I don't own these books. But I just thought it was a cool way to kind of make it a more interactive experience. If you really liked one of my reviews, you could go read it yourself and I'd make sure that it was accessible to you. So there we have it, my friends. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Noelle Gallagher to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Next Next, one book at a time or several at once. Here's the deal. Before starting BookTube, it was always one at a time. There was like no way that I would have been able to focus on more than one book at a time. But through through BookTube and through documenting my reading and just like, watching other people's vlogs and realizing, like, I guess I kind of thought like, oh, when you're reading, you have to focus entirely on one thing. You cannot pivot to something else. And I think once I realized that that wasn't actually the case and you could actually like be capable of reading a book, realizing you were a little bored, and then pivoting to another book and returning to the first book, I realized that I love to read several books at once. Usually maybe 2, maybe 3. It's usually not over that because after that point, one of those books is just gonna fall off. But usually like 2 or 3 is my sweet spot for tandem reading. And it's usually all from a different genre. So sometimes I'll be like enjoying like a nice nonfiction and then I'll be like, okay, but I need something to kind of just distract me for a little bit, and then I'll like pivot to a romance. I also would say that's a big tip for reading more, is that sometimes when you put yourself in this box of only reading one book and you can't switch out of it, like you've decided I can only read this book, and then you get to a boring part of the book, then you just don't want to read for a little while. And so if you end up reading more like 2 or 3 books, it's easier because then you can like pivot and be like, okay, I'm in the mood for a romance, and you can finish that book and then be like, oh wait, and now I'm in the mood to go finish that memoir I was reading or whatever it is. So if you've ever wondered how I read so much, that's definitely a huge tip of mine, is having several books at once. Reading at home or everywhere. So realistically, I'd love to be a read anywhere and everywhere girl, just because it sounds like super fun. Like it just sounds like, oh my God, like it's just me and my books and we're like on the bus. I mean, right now, obviously there's no way that I could read anywhere but home because we're all stuck at home. But I mean, if I'm traveling somewhere, like I'm gonna be on a plane for 5 hours, I'll bring a book. But like, I feel like when life is open, I also never just go to a cafe by myself. I just don't do that. Like, I wish I was more like that, but I'm like, why do that when I could just read at home or like be at home and make my own coffee? So I feel like if I was going anywhere outside of my house, it was to either like go to work or go to school or see people that I wanted to spend time with. And so usually I'm just a home reader. But I wish I was more of a read anywhere, anytime. But usually if I'm out of the house and I need to fill my time, Instagram is just a click away. So that's what I end up doing. Okay, question 8. Reading out loud or silently in your head? Silently in your head. I've tried reading out loud. Like sometimes when I'm like, oh my God, that audiobook was so good, maybe I can narrate it better. And then I try and I'm like, wow, that sucked. So I've tried it, but it's gotta be in the head. I've never been able to like successfully focus on what I'm reading out loud when I read out loud. And I always get so scared because in class, even now in grad school, when people are like, does anyone want to read that paragraph? Anyone? I'm like, prof, if you make me read this, I will not understand what I just read because I'll be too anxious about not tripping over any of my words. So it's gotta be silently in the head. Question 9, do you read ahead or even skip pages? Neither. I never skip pages, I never skip paragraphs, I never skip sentences, because there's kind of like this thing where I feel like if I skip anything, then it's incomplete. I might do it for school, like I might skim some paragraphs if I'm like, it's right before the class and I needed to finish a chapter or something. But when I'm reading on my own, if I'm that bored where I need to skip paragraphs or skip ahead, I'm just gonna DNF the book. I'm not gonna finish it. So if I get to a place where I feel like I'm skipping ahead or skipping details, then it's probably not a book that I even want to finish to begin with, so I won't finish it. Okay, 2 more questions. Breaking the spine or keeping it like new? I mean, we already talked about how I dog ear my books, so I will break spines before I even start reading. Like just to get the book in a better place. I actually have one right now. Hold on. So I bought this book, Little Heaven by Nick Cutter, and it's kind of a thick bitch. And so it was like a little stiff before I even started reading. And I was like, who cares? And I just went and broke the spine in multiple places because I was like, if I'm going to have a good reading experience with this thick ass book, I'm not going to have this book that wants to keep shutting on me. So I literally just sat there and like broke the spine over and over again. I'm all for it. I think, again, it kind of like leaves your mark on it. I just read a book. What was the book I just read that talked about used books? I think it was 84 Charing Crossroad. In any case, I just read a book that talked about used books. And there's like this whole kind of letter that's describing why she loves used books so much. And what she said was like, she loves picking up a book that you can tell was loved by someone else. And so sometimes when you pick up a used book and it like immediately flips open to a random page, you know that the previous reader really loved a passage from that page. So you kind of take your time with it a little bit longer. And so right when I was reading that, I was like, that was stunning. I loved how that was written. And I just thought that's exactly how it feels. When you have a really well-loved book, either by yourself or someone else, it just feels like it's a little more special because you can feel it, like it's a tangible love. It's not just like, oh yeah, I saw that this book had a really great rating online, so like that's why I read it. Instead, you can like hold it and feel how loved it was. I'm not gonna cry. This Mike's is not making me gonna cry over a fucking book, but I love breaking the spine. I love writing in it. I love creasing the pages. I love it all. Oh, wow. And then the last question is, do you write in your books? And I do. I don't write in every single book because oftentimes I feel like there's just some books that I might be loving in the moment or really enjoying, but I just know that I'm not going to read it again. And so if I'm reading a book that I know I'm going to love and cherish and keep, that I will write all over it. I'll write stars, I'll write smiley faces, I'll highlight, I'll write sentences, I'll talk to myself in the margins, I'll do it all. But usually if I know that it's a book that might not be leaving a total lasting impression, then I won't write in it. Unless it's for school and then I need to annotate anyway. But like with this, I knew within like the first 20 pages that this was not going to be a book that I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. I can't wait to go back in time and see how I felt. So I'll probably read this and then one day give it away. And so I'm not going to write all up in it. But if I was going to look at perhaps, I don't know, let's pick a book off the shelf. Whereas, if I picked up like North and South, first of all, I had to read this for school, so I already knew that I was going to write in it. But then once I got like 20 pages in, I knew how much I was going to love this book. I knew that it was going to be something spectacular and wonderful. And so not only did I just annotate it because I had to for school, but also I knew that I was going to want to look back on it and see how I felt about it in the years to come. And so I'm actually planning on rereading North and South sometime this year. And so it'll be really fun to see, like, what was I really into? What did I love about it? What were the passages that really called to me the first time so that I can see if they still affect me this time? And yeah, I love it. I love it. Look at this. Like, it's almost like a time capsule. I'm going back to look at these pages that I haven't looked at in over a year, and I can see that these 2 pages obviously meant something to me. There's something valuable on these pages, and once I reread it, it'll become very obvious why. So that's it. That's the tag, my friends. I hope that was fun. Let me know if there are any other tags you want me to do. I kind of want to do that anti-haul tag question video thing that's going around right now. It seems really fun. And I actually wanted to film that today. And then once I was looking for the questions, I was like, maybe you don't know what you're saying. So I decided not to film that today, but that is on my radar. Let me know if there are any other tags you want me to explore because I had fun. They're really quick and easy. And I just feel like they're like a cute way to talk about books without like talking about specific books. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's it, my friends. I hope you liked this video. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!